The sun burned low across the desert horizon, stretching shadows across the barren landscape where silence was broken only by the hum of radios and the faint rustle of wind against stone. The commander crouched beside the observation post, eyes locked on the woman lying prone behind a massive Barrett rifle, her steady hands cradling the weapon like it was part of her body. She wasn't just another soldier, she had earned her place through years of training, endless drills, and a reputation that had spread through the ranks like wildfire. But today, everything hung on a single shot, one that would test not only her skill but the patience, trust, and strategy of the entire unit. The target was far beyond normal combat range, deep inside enemy-controlled territory. At 2,847 meters, it was more than a test of marksmanship, it was a battle against physics itself. The sniper knew that even the slightest miscalculation, a tiny shift of wind, or a tremor in her trigger finger would send the round spiraling off into emptiness. She adjusted her breathing, slow and deliberate, her mind shutting out every sound, every distraction, until all that remained was the scope's narrow circle of vision. The commander whispered into the radio, his voice calm but edged with tension, "She's setting it up. Hold positions. We wait for her shot." Around them, soldiers tightened their grips on rifles, waiting. No one could see the target from here, only she could. Through her scope, the image was crystal clear, a high-value enemy commander, stepping out of a fortified building, surrounded by armed guards who believed their leader untouchable. Her finger rested lightly on the trigger. She recalled the endless days of training where her instructors forced her to shoot through swaying grass, desert winds, and icy rain. They had broken her down, reshaped her until timing, patience, and control became second nature. This was the moment that training had led her to. She checked the wind again, adjusted the elevation knob, and accounted for the Coriolis effect, the spin of the Earth itself. At nearly 3 kilometers, even the planet's rotation had to be considered. The commander kept his binoculars fixed in the direction of her aim, though he knew he wouldn't see what she saw. "Take your time," he muttered under his breath, not into the radio, but just loud enough for her to hear. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Seconds stretched like hours. Sweat rolled down her temple, caught in the desert dust, but her body remained still, her breathing controlled, her pulse slowed to a rhythm that matched the beating heart of the mission. The target paused, speaking to one of his men, his gestures confident, unaware that death watched from almost 3 kilometers away. Her crosshairs aligned. She inhaled deeply, then let half the breath slip away, her body sinking into the perfect state of calm. Her finger pressed the trigger, slow and deliberate, until the Barrett roared with a thunderous crack that rolled like thunder across the barren land. The recoil slammed into her shoulder, but she absorbed it, eyes never leaving the scope. The round tore through the air, flying faster than sound, a metal messenger carrying with it the fate of soldiers, commanders, and the war itself. For nearly 3 seconds, silence held the desert hostage, no one daring to breathe. Then, in the distance, the enemy commander dropped, a single red blossom blooming on his chest. The guards panicked, shouting, scattering, searching the horizon for a shooter that was far beyond their reach. The commander lowered his binoculars, a faint smile crossing his face. "Target neutralized," he said firmly into the radio. Around them, the soldiers exhaled, relief flooding their tense bodies. But for the sniper, it wasn't celebration. She simply clicked the safety on her rifle, rolled onto her back, and closed her eyes for a brief moment, knowing what she had done would be remembered. Not as a boast, not as a thrill, but as a duty fulfilled. They pulled back from the post, retreating into cover before enemy artillery could retaliate. The mission wasn't over, they had to extract. Dust clung to their gear as they moved through ravines, the sniper silent, her mind replaying the shot over and over. Some of the younger soldiers whispered about it, calling it impossible, legendary. But she stayed quiet. In her heart, she knew it wasn't about glory. It was about saving the lives of those around her, striking down a threat that would have cost countless lives had he lived. Hours later, as darkness fell and the team regrouped at base, the commander walked past rows of tired but victorious soldiers and found her alone, cleaning the Barrett with the same care she had given it before the mission. He didn't speak at first, just stood beside her, watching the meticulous way she worked. Finally, he said, "Do you know what you just did?" She didn't look up. "My job," she answered quietly. But he knew it was more than that. She had just set a record, a shot that would be studied by future generations of snipers, a story that would be told in hushed tones in military briefings. The commander placed a hand on her shoulder, a rare gesture of respect. "You saved lives today. Remember that." She nodded once, then returned to her rifle, her expression calm, almost distant. For her, the battlefield wasn't about numbers, records, or recognition. It was about precision, patience, and protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. And as the camp settled into uneasy rest, the desert winds carried the memory of a single bullet, fired across nearly 3 kilometers, changing the course of a war with the quiet strength of one soldier who asked for no recognition.